Now, with the passing of former President George Herbert Walker Bush, it's an appropriate time to examine the state of Mr. Bush's famed New World Order. Is anybody continuing to build the New World Order? Well, according to U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former director of the CIA, there is a leader on the job building the New World Order. Secretary Pompeo said the architect's name is Donald J. Trump. Speaking to an audience of Western European leaders in Brussels, Secretary Pompeo said President Trump is building a new liberal world order upheld by American democracy. Mr. Pompeo is in Brussels attending a NATO meeting. Here is a video clip of Secretary Pompeo's New World Order speech in Brussels.
We have to account for the world order of today in order to chart the way forward. It is what America's national security strategy deemed principled realism. I like to think of it as common sense. Every nation must honestly acknowledge its responsibility to its citizens and ask if the current international order serves the good of its people as well as it could. And if not, we must ask how we can right it. This is what President Trump is doing. He is returning the United States to its traditional, central leadership role in the world. He sees the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. He knows that nothing can replace the nation state as the guarantor of democratic freedoms and national interests. He knows, as George H.W. Bush knew, that a safer world has consistently demanded American courage on the world stage. And when we, all of us, ignore our responsibilities to the institutions we formed, others will abuse them. Critics in places like Iran and China, who really are undermining the international order, are saying that the Trump administration is the reason that the system is breaking down. They claim America is acting unilaterally instead of multilaterally, as if every kind of multilateral action is by definition desirable. Even our European friends sometimes say we're not acting in the world's interest. This is just plain wrong. Our mission is to reassert our sovereignty, reform the liberal international order, and we want our friends to help us and to exert their sovereignty as well. We aspire to make the international order serve our citizens, not to control them. America intends to lead now and always.
Well, as always, Edward Zoll and Doc Burkhart are here to discuss and analyze today's headlines. New World Order. Again. A liberal New World Order.
Yes, that was a new one on me today. The liberal world order. Well, I'm not that surprised coming from Mr. Pompeo, Secretary of State Pompeo, because we've heard other people aligned with President Trump that have also said that as well. When I saw this clip today, I was reminded of Mike Huckabee visiting the West Bank here back in August, 1st of August. And he was there dedicating homes, make Israel build again. And he even kind of joked around, you know, maybe I should buy a holiday home here in the West Bank.
That's right. But that's Palestinian land.
Yeah. And so but he actually brought up that phrase once again as well, New World Order, as it relates to Donald Trump building that New World Order.
We have a video that we showed in August when Governor Huckabee was in Israel and praised the Israelis for building homes on Palestinian land in the West Bank. And as Doc said, that's when he mentioned that President Trump is building a new world order. Let's watch Governor Mike Huckabee when he was in Israel in August talking about the new world order.
I think that if President Trump could be here today, he would be a very happy man. Happy because he is a builder. And he loves to see construction sites. He loves to see things that are being built. That is his life. He's been a real estate developer most of his time before becoming a president. But we are discovering that as president, he's also a builder. He's building a new world order of recognizing that America's strength is best found when it's honest and when it's forthright and when it sees things clearly right.
Well, we know that the New World Order has traditionally been associated with Freemasonry, and Masons are builders.
Right.
And their most famous symbol is the compass.
Yes.
And they worship the great architect, which is Lucifer, but they refer to their god Lucifer as the great architect, the builder. Right? So Governor Huckabee noted that President Trump is a builder. He's building a new world order. Now, in the campaign 2016, Newt Gingrich told Bill O'Reilly on Fox News, when Bill asked him, why is the Republican establishment so livid against Donald Trump? Why do they hate him so much? Why do they oppose him? And Speaker Gingrich said, well, he never joined a secret society. He never went through the initiation.
Right.
Well, has President Trump had a change of mind since he's been in the White House? Has he reconsidered? Has he joined? Is he now a builder? Is he now building a new world order? Is that the way to get peace with the establishment?
Well, I think by trying to work in a position on war that, in a lot of regards, was contrary to positions he held prior to the campaign, even during the campaign. I think the president has been forced to find a fusion between America first and that globalist term that we all know. New World Order doesn't mean sovereignty to you, I, and Doc.
But Secretary Pompeo mentioned sovereignty.
Yes,
because the George Soros version of the New World Order is no sovereignty for any nation. Borderless world, no borders anywhere in the world. That's his version of the New World Order. But what Secretary Pompeo said is President Trump is building a liberal New World Order that has sovereignty of nations. So are we seeing a new version of the New World Order?
Or competing views.
Views of the New World Order?
It could also be, too, that this, and I'm making an assumption here, this might be a strategy within those in the President Trump camp of trying to steal away the language of the globalists. You know, maybe it's a battle between them and the globalists, and they're taking.
Is that language you want to own?
I mean, there have to be members in his inner circle that know that those, for the sake of a better term, trigger words for a lot of people. When they hear the term New World Order, their antennas go up, their ears perk up and everything, because that signals, like you said, a globalist conspiracy associated with Freemasons, with the Bilderbergers. I mean, that's what it's been associated with.
Are you saying that they're using some Hegelian techniques on them?
Maybe they're flipping the script on them. And so, or there's another possibility. Maybe President Trump is a deal maker. He made a deal with the evangelicals. Maybe he made a deal with the Freemasons. Well, I'm not accusing him of that. I'm just saying the fact that the administration is using this terminology is peculiar.
You know, something I noticed in this is that term actually derives a lot of its ideology, the backbone, the thinking to it, from Henry Kissinger. You think about the era of Henry Kissinger. Foreign policy in the United States was based on the thought of Henry Kissinger. We know the presidents met multiple times with Henry Kissinger. We know that Chinese President Xi Jinping just met with Henry Kissinger prior to his meeting at the G20 with President Trump to try to get a feel about how he should approach the president for a deal. I almost wonder if this is both the influence of Henry Kissinger through President Trump and his foreign policy, but also a way to actually communicate to the Chinese, who do think in the terms of Henry Kissinger and the globalists when it comes to most of their foreign policy.
And we've said for years that Henry Kissinger is he's still Secretary of State.
Yes.
Not of the United States, but of the New World Order.
Yes.
Right.
He's the Secretary of State of the establishment. By the way, we have a video montage of some of the various world leaders using the phrase New World Order, going all the way back to President Nixon and, of course, President Bush and
Joe Biden is in there, too.
Yeah, a lot of different officials in Europe, Great Britain, here in the United States. Let's watch this video.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again. And the institutions and the rules that worked so well in the post-World War II era for decades, they need to be strengthened, and some have to be changed.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
There's a need for a new world order, but it has different characteristics in different parts of the world.
Never before has a new world order had to be assembled from so many different perceptions or on so global a scale. Nor has any previous order had to combine the attributes of the historic balance of power system with global democratic opinion and the exploding technology of the contemporary period.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
I think his task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity. It isn't just a crisis.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.
So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
And I strongly believe India will be a central actor in the new world order.
Well, this week, PPP released the findings of a poll of how much Americans believe in conspiracy theories. That's where we got our lizard people numbers from. We also learned that the percentage of Americans who believe that a secret power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually rule the world through an authoritarian world government or new world order, that percentage is 28%.
Yeah, Rachel, you go ahead and you laugh and you mock, all right? You're a little propagandist for the New World Order. All right, you just heard world leader after world leader. What did they say? New world order.
Right.
But Rachel Maddow's going to laugh and say, anybody who believes that there's a new world order, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, that's the way the propagandists work for the deep state to use this term conspiracy theorist to smear anybody who quotes the globalists in their own words.
Yes.
I didn't put words in their mouth.
No.
We didn't alter those videos.
This is their phrase.
Their phrase. They own it. They love it. They stand on it. And leader after leader. Look, 20 years of research. I mean, I can go back late 1800s, early 1900s, the term New World Order. It's been used consistently for over 100 years.
And what was it generally associated with?
Global government.
Right. So if anyone else besides Mike Pompeo or Mike Huckabee, supporters of President Trump, rank and file of President Trump, if anyone else had used the term New World Order, what would the response be to people? I mean, for instance, Hillary Clinton, let's say if Hillary Clinton had been elected president and then she came out and said, we are promoting a new world order.
Conservatives would be jumping up and down, screaming and warning they're building a global government. It's a new world order. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Right.
There's just different versions of it, different factions, but they're all marching to the same goal. They each may have a different idea of what it's going to look like, and I think they've made adjustments over time, but it's a new world order. It is a march towards a global system.
You know, I feel like we get to see two versions of President Trump. On the national level, when he's traveling with meetings with his advisors, like the G20, where he will, maybe allow Mike Pompeo, for example, when he's traveling to Brussels, to make a statement like that. And then we see him on the campaign trail where he says, I'm a nationalist. I'm not a globalist. The thing that confused me hearing this from Secretary Pompeo is, was this statement even cordoned by the president? Was this basically Mike Pompeo speaking on behalf of the other faction in the White House?
So that's what I'm thinking. Have you ever heard Donald Trump say New World Order? Have you ever heard him say, I'm building a new world order?
No.
But you hear Mike Huckabee saying, Donald Trump is building a new world order. You hear Mike Pompeo saying, Donald Trump is building a new world order. But you don't hear Donald Trump saying, I'm building a new world order. Right. These people go out and they say it in his name,
yes,
but there's no evidence that they're authorized by him to say it. So who is wagging the tail?
Wow, now you're causing some really deep thinking there, Rick, because you're suggesting that President Trump isn't in control.
No, I haven't believed he's been in control since he's been in the White House. I believe the man's fighting to maintain control, but he's not in. I honestly do not think he's in control. I still remember that time back a year ago in, I want to say March, and things got really weird, very quiet, eerily creepy quiet in the. Remember, he started out his administration. Remember, he'd sign the executive orders. He'd sign the executive orders, and he'd do this. Look, I signed it. I signed it. Every day he was doing it, and then all of a sudden, it went dark.
A pause.
Yeah. He went dark. And we said, there may be an attempted coup underway right now. And the Trump supporters came down on me, where did you get that idea? Because I'm watching this and something very creepy is happening, okay? Then in the past year, it's like he climbed out of it. And he started fighting back. And he goes to Russia, he goes to Helsinki, not to Russia, he goes to Helsinki, he meets Vladimir Putin. But on the way back, all right, things got weird again. They turned the lights off on him, all right? So you see this friction going back and forth and back and forth. You see the president say, we're going to get our troops out of Syria. And then Secretary Mattis says, no, we're not going to get our troops out of Syria. You see the president say, we're not going to have transgendered transvestites in the military. Secretary Mattis says, yes, we are. Who's running the government? Who is running the government? I do not think Donald Trump is in full control of his administration.
And the part that definitely puts me to pause that this is a serious situation is there's two things now that this organization, this basically shadow government, the government is now pushing forward is, one, is an offensive and attack on China through trade and even military, pushing our Navy, for example, through the South China Straits. Now, the other part is that they are going forward ahead with a war with Iran. I mean, we look at who's really pushing ahead with, saying statements of support to Israel. It would be National Security Advisor John Bolton. It would be, the outgoing ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley. It would be the man we just saw say New World Order. It would be the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. They're the ones that are making very ambitious statements of support, not just in political support, but physical military support for the political state of Israel in their battle against Iran.
You mentioned another, Nikki Haley. All right, remember? She clearly stated, I'm not confused.
Yes, I remember that.
I think the president's confused. All right. I know what I believe. I know what I say. All right. There's been this, you've seen these people in the Trump administration act like they really don't take direction from the president of the United States. And I think the man is, I think really and I don't know if he's figured this out yet. Okay. But Doc, and I've said this before, it's like the deep state, they've got the bridle in his mouth. Mm-hmm. Okay. One hand on the reins, let's say on the left side, the Luciferian left, okay? They're pulling on the left side of the reins, and these are the Democrats, the socialists, the news media, all the never-Trumpers. Yeah, the intelligence agencies, all of them that hate him, they want him out. And he knows they're out to get him. And they're pulling on the left side of the rein. What he hasn't figured out yet is the group that's pulling on the right side of the rein is the same group.
Yes.
It's the same group. They're all together.
Yes.
And he's put those people in his administration because they said, Mr. President, we'll protect you. We'll give you cover from those people. You need us. We're insiders. You need us. Okay? So we got Steve Mnuchin, a skull and bones secret society member running the Treasury Secretary, the Treasury. All right, skull and bones. All right. So we have all these people from the deep state who are in his administration, and they've convinced him, you need us to protect you from that evil deep state. But they are deep state.
Yes.
And so what are they doing? They're saying, hey, your enemies are accusing you of being a Russian stooge. You know what you got to do? You need to have war with Russia. Your enemies are accusing you of this. You know what you need to do? You need to bomb Syria. They're pulling him like this. They're driving him down the road to destruction. It's the same power.
The part I wish he would realize is that it's the American people in the cart that the horse is pulling. If you think about this, in both ends of that, the country is being driven toward destruction. Do we really want another war? Do we want more blood on our hands as a nation? Do we want to continue to play this role as kingmaker, not just in the Middle East, but everywhere in the world? President Trump literally ran against these ideals in 2016. We want that.
And I believe he still believes it and is against it. But it's the people he has surrounding him that's telling him, this is what you have to do. You have to take these actions. If you don't, your enemies are going to accuse you of these things.